I'll ask you one question at a time about the crow and the peacock, and I'll keep track of each question as we go. Here comes the first one. In the story, how does the crow feel about its own feathers when it sees the peacock for the first time?
Well, when the crow saw the peacock, the crow thinks the peacock feathers look better than his. So yeah, and yeah.
Exactly. The crow definitely felt like the peacock's feathers were so much more beautiful than its own. Great stuff. Question 2. After feeling this way, what does the crow decide to do or wish for because of that feeling?
Well, he wanted the same feathers as the crow. I mean as the peacock. So yeah.
Absolutely. The crow really wished it could have feathers just as colourful and fancy as the peacock's. Nicely done. Question 3. So once the crow wanted to look like the peacock, did the crow try to do anything to change its feathers? Or did it just stay wishing?
Well, no. Well, the crow saw peacock feathers, so he just took the feathers and just put it on him. So yeah, and now he basically looks like a peacock. So yeah.
Exactly. The crow actually tried to put on the peacock's feathers to sort of transform itself into something it wasn't. Great job catching that detail. Question 4. After the crow put on those feathers and looked like a peacock, how did the other peacocks react to that?
Well, the peacock was like not really happy about that. So peacock just like say that you're not a peacock and just went off. So yeah.
Yup, you got it. The peacocks definitely were not impressed. And basically let the crow know it didn't really belong as a peacock. Nicely done. Question 5. So after that happened, how did the crow feel once it realized the peacocks didn't accept it?
Well, the crow just sat down sadly and he think about kind friends makes him feel happy. So he went back to his friends and probably took off the feathers along the way. I think so it didn't explain like how the feathers got off. So yeah.
Exactly. The crow felt kind of sad and ended up realizing that being with his own friends was what truly made it happy. And yep, it probably took those feathers up along the way. Great job. Question 6. After going back to its friends, what kind of lesson did the crow learn about appreciating itself or its own feathers?
Well, when the crow sat down sadly, but the crow looked at his feathers and think like they're like shiny. Which, yes, I would say black is kind of shiny in most situations. So yeah, and plus it's very visible, I think. But I guess like it's not mostly visible at night. So yeah, it's shiny, but it absorbs light. The color black. I don't meant the crow's feathers. So yeah.
Absolutely, that's a great way to put it. The crow realized that its own feathers had their own special beauty, and that being itself was perfectly fine. So the crow learned to appreciate its own natural feathers and just be happy with who it was. Nicely done. Question 7. So by the end of the story, what did the crow understand about comparing itself to others?
In the story it doesn't show that, but the moral of the story is like be proud of who you are and what you are, or who are you, I guess.
Exactly, you nailed it. The moral is really about being proud of who you are and not needing to compare yourself to others to feel good. So the crow definitely learned to just accept and be happy with itself. Great job summing that up. Question 8. Do you think this kind of lesson is something we can use in real life when we feel jealous of other people?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's definitely a lesson that can help us in real life. whenever we start comparing ourselves to others. It's a good reminder to appreciate what makes us unique, and to be comfortable in our own feathers, so to speak. Great insight. Question 9. Now, thinking about the crow's journey, do you think it was important that the crow tried being a peacock first before it learned to be happy as a crow?
I would say like, technically yes, but he wants to be like the peacock since I think he probably didn't like the color black, but now he does, so yeah.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes we have to go through that experience of wanting to be something else before we realize we're actually happy with who we are. And now the crow appreciates its own color and its own feathers, which is great. Question 10. Do you think this story would be a good one to share with friends if they're feeling insecure about themselves?
I would say like maybe. It depends on their situation, so yeah. I would say the story can help, so yeah. But in some situations I do feel like no, so yeah.
That's a really thoughtful answer. It definitely depends on the situation and the person, but in many cases, a story like this could help someone feel a bit better about themselves. And in other situations, maybe they need a different kind of encouragement. But it's definitely a nice story to have in mind. Question 11. If you were going to tell this story to someone younger, what's the one big idea you'd want them to remember from it?
I would say like the moral of the story, and like how like how like the crow was sad that the peacock didn't accept him just for having their feathers in them, like on him, so yeah.
Absolutely, that's a perfect takeaway. You'd want them to remember that the moral is about being happy with who you are and understanding that you don't need someone else's feathers to be accepted or to feel good. That's a great message for anyone, especially younger kids. Question 12. All right, last question. After going through all these thoughts, do you feel like you want to share this story with someone else, or do you just kind of like keeping it as a little reminder for yourself?
I would say like I'm gonna keep it as a reminder for myself, like in case, so yeah.
That sounds like a great plan. Keeping it as a personal reminder for yourself can be really helpful whenever you need a little boost. And you can always share it with someone else if you think it'll help them someday. Thanks for going through all these questions. Great job.